Is this it?
Yep.
All right. Should I turn towards you a little more?
You can. Maybe I'll do my pillow too.
Okay. I love it. It makes me feel cozy.
Okay, guys, welcome to Unraveling. Today we have Rachael Cannon with us. She is an amazing author, a dear friend, and before she gets started with her journey, I just want to tell you about the first time that I met Rachael. We were at a Mirror Word gathering in Destin, and she comes in the room and light surrounded her. When she walked in the room, it just lit up. It literally shifted the atmosphere. And then when she spoke, and every time that she speaks, love and union and the finished work of Jesus just drip like honey from her mouth. To just be in her presence is so beautiful. And today I just kind of want her to share her journey from growing up in church, addiction, and then awakening to union and just agape love. And so you can start.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. That was so sweet. I'll never forget the first time that we met. Honestly, I remember I just felt so much compassion from you, and like I could hug your neck and we were instant friends.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can explain it any better than that, but I just felt like an instant sisterhood, camaraderie, friendship, and just I could feel your love for this message too.
Yeah.
And I'm
So
like,
good.
it's so awesome.
It is.
So I guess I'll kind of start off, like you said, at my childhood. And I was raised in a family that was very much on stage a lot in church. My dad is a pastor. My grandfather was a pastor of pretty large churches. I would say probably mega churches back then. You know, I'm 53 years old. And so I was pretty much born on the front row of a ministry family. A lot of black and white thinking, a lot of fear-based Christianity and shame-based Christianity.
Yeah.
A lot of performance and people-pleasing, especially being on staff. You know, how the family is supposed to kind of look perfect or... so that's kind of how I was raised. And then not only church, but I went to Christian school inside the church.
Yeah.
My whole life. And so it's like I felt like I never really got a break from anything. I was constantly on, constantly on performance. A lot of, I look back on it now and think I was in hypervigilance almost my whole life.
Yeah.
Just worrying about what people thought about me or if I was saying the right thing or doing the right thing or... making sure that I was maintaining the family image.
Yeah.
Sorry, I laugh a lot. That image, man. That image. And apparently, you know, when parents are really trying to protect their self-image, children just aren't good for that.
No. Ask me how I know.
Yeah. So, I mean, recently I was even having a conversation with my mom just out of curiosity and understanding. I feel like through therapy and through this love message, the unconditional love message, I've been able to lower my guard down and kind of drop my defenses a lot and really just stepped into curiosity and understanding. I just want to know my mom and my dad. I want to know why they are the way that they are.
Yeah.
And so we were just having a conversation and, you know, I just said, Mom, tell me a little bit about your life. Tell me about everything. Tell me about when we were little. And she told me a lot about, you know, the performance part of being a pastor's wife and having young children. And she said, I'll never forget your sister. I have a sister, Mandy, who I live with, who's really amazing.
Yeah.
And she's always kind of been the life of the party. When she showed up in our family, it was just a big party. And she keeps me on my toes and she keeps me laughing. But in the nursery, my mom picked her up from the nursery one time and she said, I'll never forget it. One of the nursery workers said that Mandy bit somebody else. And she said, it crushed me. There goes the performance. There goes the perfect image over a child biting somebody else. Kids bite each other. Big deal, you know? But I thought, wow, I can't imagine the pressure that she carried from that. And it was passed on to us.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, no wonder I live with this hypervigilance of trying to always protect myself.
Yeah.
And make sure that I present myself well.
Jesus.
You know? So that's just a little bit of understanding about my life and kind of how I was raised.
Yeah.
In my teenage years, I got on drugs and alcohol. I started kind of experimenting a lot with guys and girls and alcohol and drugs, and honestly just trying to find something, I guess, that would love me.
Yeah.
And also that would numb the pain of performance that I was in. You know, children, they don't understand intellectually things, but they can feel it physically in their bodies and in their nervous systems. And so, man, I feel like my nervous system was fried probably by 7th grade.
Yeah.
So it was just a lot of, I don't know, performance stuff and a lot of religion, a lot of black and white thinking.
Yeah.
So I became a drug addict for probably 25 years, from about the time I was 17 to about 42. And I'm talking, if you want to ruin your family's self-image, go to jail while your dad's on stage. You know? And so I ended up going to jail about 8 times over 25 years. And man, it was a hard life.
Yeah.
The life of addiction was so hard, especially with my performance and black and white thinking and my, you know, the whole paradigm of shame and all the religious programming. That was an underlying program running in my system the whole time I'm on addiction.
Yeah, which
you know?
keeps you in the cycle.
Totally loop.
Yeah.
I was in loop after loop. I could go to rehab and maybe get sober for a month or two and then come back out, and boom, the whole thing would just start over again. And it was ruthless. I experienced a lot of self-hatred, a lot of shame. And then, you know, because of all the religious programming, I would just pick myself to pieces. Nobody had to tell me what I was doing was wrong.
Right.
I already was picking myself. That, you know, one thing about being raised in a performance is instead of having other people point out your flaws, you figure out your flaws first.
Yeah.
And so the voice of the inner critic inside of me was so loud all the time.
That's powerful.
Yeah, it was torture.
Yeah.
It really was, you know, it was mutilation. I would pick myself to pieces before anybody else could.
Yeah.
And it was relentless. And it really, really, my way of thinking was so messed up.
Yeah.
It really was. But even in the middle of it all, I still believed in God.
Yeah.
Like I still believed in God. But maybe not the God that I was raised to believe in. But I still had this idea that he was there for me.
Yeah.
And that he was with me, you know? And so, man, I went to rehab for the last time when I was 42 years old. I found, this amazing lady. She ran a ministry called Rachael Restoration Ministries. And when I saw her and she shared her testimony, I just remember thinking, that's what I want. Whatever that lady's got, that's what I want. Because she seemed like sincerely happy. I mean, seriously happy. And she wasn't like trying to be somebody else.
Yeah.
She was just being herself. You could feel her, I don't know if you want to call it authenticity, or she was just really genuinely herself, which that's what I craved.
Yeah.
All the performance. Man, being raised in performance, I can smell it a mile away. Woo. Not only can I smell it, my body remembers it.
Yeah.
I feel it.
Yeah.
You know, and they say vibes don't lie. People can say things with their mouths, but vibes, the real frequency of authenticity, it's so powerful, man.
Yeah.
And so when her name was Dawn Atkins, and I love her so much. And when she walked in the room, man, I was just like, what is it about this lady? She just seems like she's really herself, but the joy was genuine. The freedom was genuine.
Yeah.
And she wasn't speaking the Christian language like I had heard it before. There was something different about it. Mostly she talked about love, but she really talked about the power of God to be able to set a person free.
Yeah.
And she experienced it firsthand.
Yeah.
to me, the experience, whoa, dude. To meet somebody who's experienced the love of God in such a tangible way that it changes their life, I'm like, that's what I want. That's what I want. And so that had happened to her. She had been in a prison cell in Florida, and she just asked the Lord, if you're really real, you know, I want to meet you. And she said that when she said that, the presence of love himself came into the room and said, Dawn, I'm real and I love you and I'm here to set you free. You feel it, don't you? It's very authentic.
Yeah.
Very, very real. Very real. Which was what I was raised, the lack of the realness, you know?
Yeah.
The lack of the real thing. And so to see the real thing, like standing in front of me, I thought, man, I got to have what this lady's got. And I'll do whatever to get it. So I reached out to the guy who kind of invited me to hear her testimony. And I said, man, I got to have what this lady's got. I'll do whatever. And he said, Rachel, I'm sitting across my dining room table with Dawn right now. And if you're serious, she said that she would love for you to be a daughter in her home. She had a home for women like me. And I thought, oh, crap, dude. Why in the world would I go back to rehab? And he said, if you're serious, pack your bags and she would love for you to come to her home.
Wow.
And I did. 3 days later, I was sitting in the car with her, and I'll never forget it. I said, I'm going to be really sick. I've been doing drugs for 25 years. I've been doing opiates and everything else I could get my hands on, and I'm going to be really sick. I had been through withdrawals before. I don't know if you've ever experienced.
Oh, yeah.
They're horrible.
They're terrible. And
I had experienced that many times before, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to suck it up. And I'm going to do this withdrawal thing. And I said, I'm going to have withdrawals really bad. And I weighed 99 pounds. Like, I had basically starved myself for the drugs.
Yeah.
And she just leaned over to me and she put her hand on my shoulder and she said, Rachel, she said, you don't have to suffer anymore because Jesus Christ already suffered for you. And I can't tell you what that did for me, but it set me free. Yeah. I felt my chains break. I felt like instant peace. I felt relief.
Yeah.
Relief from all the years of trying to think, I got to do this on my own. Man, why can't I get it right? All the years of performance and striving, I felt like just a layer melted off of me. And I remember I ate something on the way down. We drove down to, her home was in Daytona Beach, Florida. And I lived in Birmingham, Alabama at the time. And so we drove for about 10 hours and I actually slept in the car.
Wow.
I hadn't had sleep in a long time. And she bought me a Subway and I ate like a Subway. And I just remember when we got to her house, I remember when I stepped across the threshold to her ministry, I could just feel like something different.
Yeah.
And there were only, it was a small program. There were like 5 to 7 ladies there, and they loved me unconditionally. They really did. She taught me so much about the love of God. And it was in her home that I experienced the love of God for the very first time.
All those years on the front row pew.
Oh my gosh, man. It was so amazing. The love of God, that one experience changed my whole life, you know? Yeah. So, I just had I had a picture. We were worshiping one morning and I had a picture of God as a father holding me as a little baby. And, he was washing my hair. I had shampoo in my hair, and then he got a cup of water and he just rinsed my hair out just like you would wash your little baby. You know, I felt like I was about 6 or 8 months old in the picture that I had. And then God, the Father, leaned down and he kissed me on the forehead. He kissed me right on the nose, and then he kissed me on the lips. And he said, you're mine.
Wow.
He said, you don't kiss other people's babies on the lips. You're mine. And I looked at him. I remember I looked at him, and the love in his eyes, it changed me. It was like everything I had ever wanted. All I wanted was to be loved. And isn't that the cry of our human hearts?
Yeah.
Who loves me? Who loves me? And man, ever since then, I've just been on this journey of loving myself, of learning who God really is for myself.
Yeah.
You know, I stayed in Dawn's house, the rehab house, for about 1.5 years. But man, that one encounter with the Lord just radically changed my life so much that it kind of set me on fire a little bit in a whole new way. And it was amazing. Like only about 4 months into it, she said, Rachel, I really feel like you're supposed to start going into the prisons down here in Florida. And I said, I can't. I have a felony pending in Birmingham, Alabama. It was my 8th felony that I'd been charged with. And so I said, I can't. I called her Mama. And I said, I can't, Mama. I got that felony pending on me in Birmingham, Alabama. And she said, God don't care about that. You're supposed to be in jails.
Come on.
And so I went ahead and applied 10 years ago to get my PIN number to go into the Florida Department of Corrections. And can you believe that I got clearance?
Jesus.
And so I started going in doing chapel services at Lowell Correctional 2 times a month. I do all the praise and worship and then teach a message and then do an altar call back then, you know.
Yeah.
And try to get everybody to come up front and get saved or get them baptized in the Holy Ghost. And man, I saw a lot of amazing things happen, and I met some really beautiful women. And I got hooked. I got hooked on going to jail.
Yeah.
I did. I love it so much. So I moved back to Birmingham, Alabama, and started going back into the jails that I had been incarcerated in.
Yeah.
And man, the Lord just was really touching my life, and I loved doing what I was doing. I ended up getting on staff at a church there. And while I was on staff, I also pursued my degrees and all that kind of stuff, you know, for ministry.
As we do.
Yep. And so I ended up getting my master's degree. I ended up getting my PhD in theology. But while I was studying for my dissertation, I honed in on the woman at the well and her story. And man, it just, that whole story messed me up in the best way. I started having an awakening on the front row of a very prophetic, and I would say a very black and white, very charismatic church. But I started having an awakening on the front row. Well, this is a performance-based society also.
Yeah.
And the black and white thinking, you know, sometimes I realized that sometimes my need for understanding in a black and white society, it will look like rebellion.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I absolutely understand.
And so a lot of times in the black and white thinking of the church or a performance-based church, especially if there's a hierarchy system. Also, any kind of questions can pose a threat to the authority system there. And so unbeknownst to me, I started asking the wrong questions to the wrong people.
Yeah.
And it was very painful, but I ended up getting released from that church. It was very painful. I call it a rude awakening.
Yeah.
It was humiliating and liberating at the same time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I really had to process it. And so they asked me to leave, and it was heartbreaking. I remember this was only 4 years ago.
Yeah.
All right. It was heartbreaking. I tried to climb the religious ladder to nowhere. Yeah. I climbed it, and I went through all the religious hoops. I got my PhD. I wrote the dissertation. I got to the front row, and then I got to the stage. Then they handed me a microphone. Then they picked me to pieces.
Yep.
And then everybody turned on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's such a bummer. I climbed the religious ladder to nowhere.
Yeah.
Only to find there was more work to do.
More work to do. More performance.
I'm like, oh my gosh. But I remember I ended up, just going home, and I didn't have too much to do because I'd been on staff at the church. They had a college during the week. And so all of a sudden I had like nothing to do. And I was like, wow, this is really interesting. Maybe I should try to find another church.
Yeah.
That's my first thought.
Yeah.
And I had, all the religious lingo, people reaching out to me from the old church saying, you better stay plugged in. Are you getting to the root of everything? Make sure that you don't get bitter. Offense is the bait of Satan. All these, little things, but nobody really said, how are you doing?
Wow.
It looked very painful what you went through.
Wow.
And they didn't talk about it after you left. Are you okay? Nobody really reached out to ask me that because they were just programmed to say the right things or their religious way of thinking.
Yeah.
And it's black and white. The pastor's right and they're wrong.
Right.
But I'm wrong. So it was very interesting. while I'm sitting on my couch, reading the Bible, doing my devotions, and having my whole world undone. Basically because of the woman at the well. Unraveled. Hell yeah. I mean, yeah. I was being unraveled. And honestly, I still get unraveled.
Yes.
I love it. I'm like, ooh, is that a trigger? Thank you. I feel another growth opportunity coming up. But I remember I was in so much pain, and it was like I saw all of my religious works, my good intentions, my well-meaning intentions, just doing the thing that I was taught to do. And I just saw them, and they just went poof, like a puff of smoke. I took down all my degrees off of my wall. I had been ordained. I got my ordination, and I ripped it up. I'm so sorry. I ripped it up. And I thought, oh my gosh, man. And for the first time in my life, I wanted to know God for myself. Yeah. I had only heard about him through people on the stage. Yeah. Or through a podcast. Yeah. And I thought, you know what? I just feel like I don't even know the God who supposedly loves me so much. Yeah. And I said, God, I just want to know you for my own self. Yeah. And, when I was on staff at the church, I taught a lot of Bible studies, and I had started teaching a book by Justin Paul Abraham called Beyond Human. Mm-hmm. And boy, the pastor didn't like that. So I got called into the office, and he was looking me up and down like this. Oh, where's the demon? Where's the demon in her? Oh my God. And I was like thinking, I don't have a demon, do I? And I mean, that's the way. Do I
have a demon?
Right.
Do I?
That's the way that I was taught. And he said, you cannot teach him in my church. And I said, why not? I'm curious. I'm not being rebellious.
I just want to know.
I'm curious. Why? And he couldn't explain to me why. And I thought, well, that's very interesting. But a week later, he had called the whole church together, and he had said, do not listen to Justin Paul Abraham. Do not read the Mirror Bible. Do not listen to John. Some of these names I hadn't even heard of yet. So don't listen to John Crowder. Don't listen to Baxter Kruger. Wow. He even said, don't listen to Bethel. When he threw everybody under the bus, I mean, he threw everybody. And I remember getting up and having to walk out of the room and thinking, what are we doing? Yeah. Why can't I read these people? Right. What's so bad about it? And honestly, that made me want to read it. I'm serious. Yeah. And so one of the first things that I did after I had my liberation from religion, thank you to my pastor. I still love him so much. It didn't change my love for him at all. I'm so thankful that they could see enough to release me. Ooh, and that's good. And they were kind about it. They were as kind as they could be. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, man, I really got set free. It's like they opened up a little cage that I was in. It said, go on. Yes. Fly away, little bird. Mm-hmm. And I said, woo, I got my wings. And I don't know if I'll be back or not. But I remember one of the first things that happened to me is I got on Amazon, and I found the Mirror Bible. And I remember I just bought the smallest book that I could find. It was like the Gospel of John or something. Yeah. And I read it, and I thought, whoa. Yeah. Because I read the first chapter that I read was John chapter 4, because I had studied that for 2 years and broken it down. And the way that Francois Dutoit explained it, I was like, no wonder I had an awakening with her story. It's epic, man. Yeah. And he clearly says, Jesus clearly tells this woman, the end of this religious era has arrived with me. Woo! I'm here now. And so it doesn't matter where you go to worship. Now, all worship will be internal. Yes. All of it is the internal relationship is everything. Everything. And then, he completes it by, she's like, oh, well, we'll know all about that when the Messiah comes. And he's like, I'm the one you're looking for. Yes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, man. Yeah. It changed her whole life, totally changed her whole life. But there's so much rich, that is one of the richest stories. It is. And then I ended up meeting her like in an encounter.
Wow.
And because I sat at the well for 2 years,
Yeah.
really, while I studied I went through every single verse and broke it down. And then I wanted to know the history of the culture.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to know why the Samaritans were outcast. What was the big deal with them?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I just wanted to know the women at the time in that kind of history, the first century culture. I wanted to know everything about it. But then when I met her, I sat at the well and I said, tell me all about your life. And she told me, she said, one look in his eyes, it's all about love. And she said, don't be flimsy. It's all about love. It was the look in his eyes that changed me. And she said, Rachel, she said, you guys have Bibles? Remember, they only had like 5 books of the law.
Yep.
And that was very black and white thinking.
Very black and white.
And she said, you guys have podcasts, you have Bibles, you have limitless resources. She said, but don't ever forget the look in his eyes. And I think she told me that because she knew I had seen it too, And it was all about the love. It was all about love, unconditional love, and full-on acceptance. And then he reminded her of who she was. And deep down in her soul, beyond all the layers, beyond.
And there were so many layers.
And the pain and the suffering that she had experienced. But I do believe that she went to the well every day with a hope in her heart. Like, where is this God that they're telling me about? I just think he's better than that.
Yeah.
So I think when he said, I'm the one you're looking for, it was very personal revelation for her. Because all of this is so personal. It's just, the relationship is everything.
Yeah.
The personal relationship to me is everything. Mm-hmm. So sitting back on my couch, I got the Mirror Bible and I felt like Nicodemus a little bit. I'm reading it under the cover of night, hoping that I'm not going to get in trouble. And I'm not telling anybody that I'm reading it, but it just began to unravel me. And I started getting outside. I started taking long walks in my neighborhood. And I didn't know all of this stuff was just regulating my nervous system again, because I had been traumatized again, by the church, by the church people. And so I got the Mirror, and then I kind of started watching like The Shack Revisited and reading Baxter's books. But this message was totally different from the one that I had heard.
Yeah, it is.
There was no fear in it. What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say, for me, because my journey is basically the exact same, but I just remember like the knowing,
Wow.
like the knowing that this was truth.
Yeah.
Like I didn't need someone to tell me or convince me.
Yeah.
But when that path started opening, it's the Holy Spirit teaches you all things. Yeah. And we think that we know what that means in the church world, but this is an inner knowing. Yeah. Like this is it.
It is. It is. Because we're born from love, and all we want is to know this love, to know this God who is so loving.
Yeah.
And I love that, the inner knowing. There's a verse, I think it's in 1 Corinthians 13, and it says that we would know ourselves as we have always been known. And I love it.
Wow.
I love it, that we would know ourselves the way that the Father knows us. And that's everything. And then it's so amazing to me how when we know ourselves, then we automatically know other people.
Yeah.
And oh man, it's amazing.
It is.
I love it. So after I started reading the Mirror Bible a little bit, it kind of started, he's so good. Francois is so good at painting the picture of the whole religious system. Mm-hmm. Yep. And he calls it, the system of hardship, labor, and annoyances. And I'm like, man, it's so true. It's so true. It's almost like, I know that they're very sincere and loving people in the Christian faith, but sometimes they just feel like they're teaching the opposite.
Yeah.
They're kind of teaching the opposite of what really is true. But then I wanted community. Remember, I had been in community a lot, and I feel like we heal in community. Yeah. And so I was thinking, are there any other people around me who believe this way? Or how come nobody else is reading the Mirror Bible?
Yeah.
And I couldn't find what I was looking for at the local church. And so I found it online. I found the Mirror Bible Study. And man, I got on, one night, this was like 3 years ago, and I'll never forget just the love and the acceptance that I felt from other people. And then I was ashamed of getting kicked out of church,
Yeah.
I was really ashamed about it. And I told a couple of the people in a breakout group, I said, I got kicked out of my church. And they were like, we all been kicked out of church. or somebody said,
Yeah.
I politely excused myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, this is so great. I found a people who we can talk about real stuff.
Yeah.
Without shame or fear. Mm-hmm. And that was really refreshing. I don't think I'd ever had that before.
Yeah.
To find people who are very loving, open, and accepting
Yeah.
is really hard to find.
It is.
And so I'm super grateful for them. I just love them so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is an amazing group, and I encourage anyone to try it out. It is very just unconditional love and joy, so much joy. And this is one thing I love about Rachael too, because when you're raised in the church, in religion, it's very rare that you get a glimpse of the joy of the Lord, because we're so serious. Like, we got stuff to do, people to save, and demons to fight.
Yeah.
And we're very serious, even when it comes to our worship,
Yeah.
But just knowing Rachael is really knowing the joy of the Father, the joy of the Son, and the joy of the Spirit, and the joy of life.
Yeah.
The joy of life. She loves life. And that is something that, as believers, I feel like we have failed to show the world.
Yeah.
That life is joyful.
Yeah, because if you're thinking black and white all the time, then you're kind of raised to think what is black and what is white.
Right.
Am I always having to try to figure that out? Mm-hmm. And now that I don't think that way anymore, I'm open to love people where they are.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, what makes you tick? Why did you have the adaptation of addiction? Mm-hmm. I just call it adaptations, because I just feel like I love the intelligence of the Logos.
Yeah.
I love how love is so freaking intelligent, and we're born with this intelligence inside of us. So even as a young child, my intelligent being, even though I may not have been able to verbally process stuff, I was already adapting to my environment.
Yeah.
And also creating an adapted version of myself.
Yeah.
Which just so happened to come out in addiction. But the adaptations can be any kind of adaptation.
Yeah.
But it's all designed to, I was protecting myself.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, man, I love all my adaptations. They may not serve me anymore. Thank God. But they did for a while.
Yeah.
And I thought that they were good for me. But now I'm like, no, thank you. Thank you so much, old Rachael. Thank you, Rachael Addict, for serving me. I know that you were trying to protect me and numb me from all of the pain that I was trying to process.
Yeah.
But now I'm able to face it.
Yeah, that's one of the things I loved about Sozo Ministry, is because I had never been taught to love my old self, to bless her,
Wow. Yeah.
Even as a child,
Yeah.
or the me in addiction. Like, I had never been taught, you can actually love her and you can bless her and you can thank her. And I think that's huge. That's huge, because, it's a part of being vulnerable with yourself and learning to love every part of you.
Yeah.
It
is. I've got a song that's out, and it's called Be Gentle with Yourself. And it talks all about be gentle with yourself, my darling. Give yourself some breathing room. Now is your time to feel and heal. But when you're raised in a culture that teaches you that feelings are bad, that your body is shameful, and that you can't even trust your own instincts, then boy, it just raises a generation that is very confused, and then they don't trust anything.
Right. Yeah. It's funny because, we numb our feelings in addiction, and then religion teaches us to numb our feelings. And it's like, you don't matter. But the truth is, if you don't love yourself and you don't believe that you matter, then you cannot love other people. And if you believe that that's who God is and that's what he's saying, then you won't ever love him and have a true vulnerable relationship with him.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's the circle.
It all comes back to love.
Yeah.
It all comes back to love. And as believers, I feel like as Christians, love is almost like a foreign
Yes.
term for most Christianity. Like I told somebody the other day, well, this is like about a year ago, I was on another podcast and they were like, Rachel, what do you think that we should do with this part of the community that's not so much involved in church or not so much welcome in church? And I said, love them. Love is the only answer.
I mean,
And he was like, he looked at me like I was nuts. And I thought, this is so strange. We should know
so
love
strange.
like the back of our hand.
yeah. And the fact that the conversation was even that are not, welcomed in the church or not in the church. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that separation mindset.
The separation, the exclusion.
Woo.
You know, one thing about The Well that I love so much is that it's a worldview picture.
Yes.
That Jesus is the Savior of the world.
Yeah.
And when I look at Jesus now, I see unconditional love. And so I will say unconditional love is the Savior of the world.
Yeah.
Meaning unconditional love heals. I mean, it is to me, the power of love. Love is it's the most universal and most energetic force.
Yeah.
I don't even know if force is a right word for it though. Because it's woven into everything. It is into the fabric of our creation. It's woven into the fabric of our soul, of our being. I think if we could see each other's souls right now, I see yours a little bit showing. It would just be like pure, unconditional love in its purest form ever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I just want to be able. I'm so thankful for all the resources that we do have now, though.
Yeah.
Like I'm in somatic therapy, and oh man, I'm in a therapy group right now with 6 other ladies, and we meet every Tuesday night online, and the healing is so freaking epic, man. We last night, all of us time traveled together. I'm serious. It was so beautiful. This another lady had an experience in like 9th grade in her car. Like she was in the backseat of her car, and she had this experience. And like the therapist said, who wants to go with her back to 9th grade and surround that car?
Wow.
And she said, if you would like to do that, raise your hand. And all 6 of us raised our hand, supporting her, saying, we're here with you.
Yeah.
And then she walked her back through the experience, and the lady came out of it and she said, I could see all of your faces.
Wow.
I could see all of your faces when I looked out the car window. I could see all of you there, and you were all there supporting me. Wow. And I thought, man, what if we supported each other? What if we just had real support groups, not based on if you were believing it right or wrong. Yeah. But just based on, love. I feel like the human condition is probably suffering, you know? Every single person is suffering in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
And man, to meet people in the middle of their suffering, to be there and say, I love you, I support you, I'll be your ally.
Yeah.
I'll be your greatest ally.
Yeah.
Let me be with you. And she even said, I think the pain is too much. I don't want to share it with you guys. It's very painful. And we said, we can help. It's easy for us because we love you.
Wow.
I'm serious. But I think, man, that's just like God.
Yeah, that's what I just heard the Trinity say in unison.
It's the Trinity. We have such a great ally system. We have 3 on our side constantly.
Yeah.
And they're constantly on the inside supporting us through everything with pure, unconditional love.
Yeah.
No strings attached. No questions asked. Always only for our good.
Yeah.
But the way that they do it is so perfect. And it's so individually tailored to our needs.
Yes. Yes.
And that's why I say God is a genius.
Yeah.
He is so freaking intelligent.
Yes.
And they're always with us. You know, sometimes I feel like we're just on a human endeavor. You know, we're spirits experiencing life in all of its agony. Oh my gosh, man. It's so hard sometimes, Lord. I'm like, this is so hard. You know, and I feel like he's like, yeah, but I'll never leave you or forsake you.
Wow.
I will not leave you here to do this alone. And what he means is my love is always going to be with you.
Yeah.
Turn towards the love. Turn towards the love. But I do feel like, you know, we're here. We've never been separated from God. We think we are in a way. In our minds. But then sometimes even the thinking that we're separated, it's almost like a paradox, because even in the separation mentality, that's where the love kind of comes in.
Yeah.
So I could talk about love forever.
I know, feel like I love you.
I will study love for all the days of my life. I just love it.
Let's see. I did make a few cards.
Okay.
I didn't really need them, did I? So I did want to. I seen a post you made on Facebook.
Okay.
And it said, "Tell me, what does love look like for you? How do you need to be loved in order to feel safe, seen, and valued?"
Isn't that huge?
Yeah. And so I thought together we'll just take turns and answer that.
Oh, I would love to.
Okay.
You go first.
Okay. So to feel safe, for me, I really need to be able to be vulnerable. Yeah. The no performance, you know? Like, I want you to see me for me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, even if it's like I'm having trouble with my grown-agers, you know, this is happening in my marriage. You know, I did this yesterday and I'm not well pleased with myself, you know?
Yeah.
I just, once the Lord set me free from performance, even with this podcast, I was like, if I can't be vulnerable, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so for me, vulnerability is what makes me feel safe.
I love
like when I can open up and show you who I am.
Yeah.
And let's see, how do I need to be loved to be seen? Well, my love language is words of affirmation.
Yeah.
And so even like for Mother's Day and stuff, I would rather my kids write out an intimate personal letter than buy me anything.
Wow.
And so I have a high value for words.
Yeah.
Which means, you know, words hurt me the most too.
Yeah.
And so, and then how do you need to be loved in order to feel valued?
Yeah.
I have to think about that one.
Yeah.
In order to feel valued. Well, I just had this image of like, of like the signet ring and the shoes and which is one of my favorite stories in the Bible.
Yeah.
And so I think in order for me to feel valued, it's just in that constant communion and truth of my oneness and my identity. I think that's what makes me feel valuable.
Yeah.
You know, is just remembering who the Father says I am.
I love that. Mm-hmm. That's beautiful.
Okay, what about you?
I would have to say care and curiosity.
Yes.
You know, I find that I don't want to be judged on face value. Mm-hmm. I really want to be accepted too. Yeah. Like, accept me for me. Yeah. And if you're curious as to understanding me, then maybe ask questions or something. Yeah. You know, I love curiosity. I think it's such a beautiful thing. Yes. To try to understand where people are coming from instead of just labeling them black and white, you know, or just, you know, looking at their behavior and saying, uh-oh.
Heaven or hell.
Right. I want to have understanding. Yeah. And so to me, I would say that curiosity is probably one of my favorite aspects of love. The care part of it is a lot to me too. And then also like gentleness. I love gentleness and affection in terms of endearment. I call myself baby and darling, and then when other people call me that, I'm like, I love that. I make sure to talk to my little ladies in jail, my little greenhouse lilies. I constantly, refer to them with terms of endearment. I just love them so much.
That's so good. Okay, one last thing. Is there anything you want to say? Do you feel a desire? Burning desire. Okay. You posted this on Facebook. I want to say last year.
Yeah.
But it says, to the superstitious, all things are superstition. To the religious, all things are religion. To the warriors, all things are warfare. To the traditionalist, all things are tradition. To the sin conscious, all things are sin. To the wounded, all things are painful. To the healed, all things are healed.
Wow.
To the loved, all things are love. To the pure, all things are pure. To the unfinished, all things are still unfinished. But to the finished, all things are finished. To the blissed, all things are blissed. Maybe it's just time to wake up and live.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was so beautiful, and it literally my nervous system reacted to it in a positive way.
Wow, that's huge.
I felt every single word of that, and I also felt like I could see my journey in those words.
Yeah.
Me
too. How we see what we see is it's so crucial almost.
Yeah.
And then to me, the openness, to be able to be open to different translations of the Bible.
Yes.
Or to be open to say, what if I did learn it a different way and there is another way that I could possibly know God?
I love that. Yeah.
The openness to me, because the black and white and the rigidity of people's thinking can be detrimental.
It is. Yeah, it is detrimental. I'll never forget when the Father said, you have to let go of needing to know everything.
Wow.
You have to be okay with the mystery.
Yeah.
And that was huge.
Yeah.
Yep. You have to be okay with the mystery.
Yeah.
But that was a major shift, and I think about this too. I'm like, because a big part of my unraveling was putting the Bible away for a little while.
Yeah, I agree.
Being face to face.
Yeah.
And then we're a lot alike, I like to study the history, the context. I want to know what was happening, and grateful for people in my unraveling that taught me to do that.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, just learning. There wasn't even a Bible when Jesus walked the earth. Like you said, they had the Torah, which was very, that would be a whole nother podcast. Right. Because as I say, we don't function through the lens of Moses and Job, because Jesus is the exact representation of the Father.
Yeah. Yeah.
But with that being said, I really had to come to this place of not worshiping the Bible and being okay with an adventure.
Yeah.
Being okay with an adventure. But like you, when I got the Mirror Bible, I couldn't put it down.
I know, man. It was the greatest thing.
And for me, I was already on the journey of awakening.
Yeah.
And I had no idea how people felt about this Bible. I didn't learn that until a little later on. Yeah. And because I was just like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is it,
Yeah.
And yeah, I encourage everyone to dive into that, to dive into Baxter Kruger, into Rachael Cannon's books.
Thank you.
Which I do want to talk about before we end the show. So, because they're good.
Wow, thank you.
Yes. So she has Lamb and Lilies, right?
Yeah.
And The Woman at the Well.
Yeah, I've got a book that I did on my dissertation for The Woman. And I did go back about 2 years ago and I revised it a little bit.
You did?
I added in the union message a lot more.
Then you have, I got a list of them somewhere.
I can tell you.
Okay, do it.
So I've got The Heart of the Lily, Volume 1 and 2. And then I've got the Agape Trilogy.
I smell.
Ooh, what is that?
It's the presence of the Trinity.
Beautiful. So I've got the, wow, that smells really amazing. I've got the Agape Trilogy. The first one is called The Enjoyment of Being So Loved. And it is 365 pages really of just luscious being loved. I write from experience. And so most of the times I might write some experiential stuff, but I make it really open to where you can experience it too. I think my hope would be that you can experience unconditional love while you're reading it.
Yeah.
And I talk in there very gently and I use a lot of prose, and I love poetry and lyrical writing. And so it's just kind of like a sing-song book. It's juicy, all about love. And then I just did 2 books this year already, and both of them are 365-day devotionals. One is called An Ecstasy a Day, and those are all my quotes from my favorite saints and mystics. Can I talk just a little bit about that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so one thing that I've realized, or that I've learned in therapy, there's this technique called pendulation. And that is where you say you have an issue, an ongoing issue, and it's really big. So the issue is really big, and you can sit with the issue for a minute. It could be, I'll tell you who did it, David.
Okay.
David did pendulation, and he didn't even know what he was doing. But he would say, God, my enemies are chasing me so bad.
Right.
And then he would say, but I trust you.
Wow.
And the problem would get smaller. And then he'd say, but they're out to get me. I'm hiding in a cave right now. And he'd say, but I know I can trust you. I know that you're going to get me through this. And it was a technique that therapists are using now called pendulation. And it helps you to regulate your nervous system.
Wow.
But so it makes, you can actually hold 2 beliefs at the same time. All right. In Christianity, the way that I was raised, you cannot hold 2 beliefs at the same time. You have one and you're done.
Right.
Now I'm learning I can have joy and sadness at the same time.
Wow.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I can pendulate back and forth, but I'm going to stick more on this side. Do you see what I'm saying? But it doesn't mean that the problem is non-existent. It means I have a greater solution. All right. And so what I realized when I was writing these 2 books of quotes is that I was actually going through something very traumatic in my own life. My central nervous system was fried from years of religious indoctrination and black and white thinking. And I was like, whoa, dude, I'm fried right now. And so I started writing, and I realized that the saints and mystics, I was pendulating because during my daytime, I would say, man, this issue is not going away. It's very big. But in the mornings I would write, and I would be sitting there with the saints and mystics, and literally I could feel their hands on my shoulders.
Wow.
And they would say, oh, but your soul, look at how beautiful your soul is.
Wow.
And I would say, man, but this problem is so big. And then I would go back into Hildegard of Bingen saying, love is our Father.
Yes.
Love is the healing energy running through every core of humanity. And so I'm pendulating back and forth, and I'm like, I had no idea I was even doing that.
Yeah.
But so these books really help with that. Ooh. So the quotes from the saints and mystics, that's An Ecstasy a Day. And then Kisses in the Ether, those are like all my favorite poets. But I've taken the poetry that they've written of love and union and oneness and brought it into everyday life.
Wow.
And now I have friends on 30A, my friends that I hang out with, and they're like, we're reading your Kisses in the Ether book, because they're not Christians.
Yeah.
In fact, they've probably rejected Christianity due to the judgment and the lack of love. And so they're like, we're reading your books and we're talking about them with our friends. Jesus. And the poetry of love and union is actually universal language.
Yeah.
And so they get that. But all the Christianese stuff, they're like, no, I don't understand that part. And I'm like, girl, I don't understand it either. But I realized the Christianese language for me, it almost triggers my nervous system automatically.
Yeah.
To where I'm like, eeks, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Not right now anyway.
I tell David and Alicia this. I find my language has been the hardest to shift.
Yeah.
Because it's so wired in you, you know, because I think it's a head, then it becomes a heart, right? And then you're learning to speak in the finished work. And I sometimes I feel that pendulum, you know, and I'm not even aware of it.
I hear you.
And I say that to Dave all the time because I'm like, you're so good with the language.
Well, the language to me, I've just decided to be my own self.
Yeah.
You know? And so I write like myself. One of my editors said, because I write and I'll put a lot of ha-ha-has and bah. I write joy into my books.
Yes.
It's just who I am. And one of the editors said, oh, we need to take all of Rachel's ha-ha-has out. And my publisher said, you don't know Rachael. That's her style. You can't, if you take that out, you lose a part of her.
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, that's so true. And then I have a ministry too called Greenhouse Lilies, and I go into 3 county jails here in the area. And I just get to love on the inmates, the female inmates, and I teach them all about the love of God and our inseparable union with the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And I teach them through conversation.
Yeah.
And my language has changed. I can't speak the language anymore either. Yeah. And you know what? They don't understand what penal substitution atonement theory is anyway. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, well, that's cool, because
now makes it a lot easier.
Now I don't have to talk about that kind of stuff, but I can display it, you know?
Yes.
So one of the ladies on Monday, so in a lot of the jails, there are a lot of mental health issues, you know, and there's a lot of homelessness. In fact, in one jail in Okaloosa County, I have all the mental health patients. They're in administrative segregation and medical segregation due to mental health ongoing issues. And that's my favorite class. I love them. We laugh together and I understand them and we get to talk. Yeah. But on Monday, I was in the jail, and this one young lady in there, she's in for some very serious charges, and she said, I never liked going to church because when I was little, she said I could see things, and they said that I had a demon.
Jesus.
And I just said, how did that make you feel? And she said, I was really scared, and I thought that I had a demon, and it made me not ever want to go back around them. And I said, you don't have a demon, baby. Wow. I said, what you have is a gift. And she's like, wow, I never understood it like that. But I thought to myself, what if Christians could be more curious? Yeah. And say, what if instead of just calling everything demonic, they said, wow, you're a very special young lady. Yeah. And we're going to help you develop your gift. Yeah. And we're going to love you through it, no matter what you see or what you do. And I just wonder how that would have changed her, instead of her being raised her whole life thinking that she had a demon. Well, I think that we can do better in love.
Definitely.
And I feel like we should, like as Christians, since God is love and we are born of 100% love, then I feel like we should know love like the back of our hand. Yeah. I posed that question on Facebook because I really wanted to see who knows what love is. Yeah. Because we're in, you know, Jesus came into a society that was black and white, rule-based society that operated on commandments. Yes. All right? And he demonstrated unconditional love so much that in the end of it, he even said, okay, I'll speak your language. You want commandments? I'll give you one. Yeah. Love each other. Love yourself as I have loved you, and love your neighbor as much as you love yourself. And I'm like, man, he wanted to speak their language, but really, it ain't all about commandments. No. This love is the only thing that we have ever known. Yeah. And to come into this world and feel just the slightest little hint of unlove, we just don't even know what to do with it. Yeah. We turn it all inward and we say, oh, I'm the problem. I must not be lovable. Yeah. So, man, I could talk to you forever, Candace.
I know, but you have a dentist appointment.
I do.
Okay, can you just tell us, they can get your books on Amazon? I have some on Audible, so I know there's some on Audible. And then is it thebookstore.com?
Yeah, on Robin Smith's.
Robin Smith, thebookstore.com. Yeah. And then your music, is it on Spotify?
Yeah, my music is on all streaming platforms.
Okay.
Yep, I used a digital platform to create music. I just put my lyrics in, and then digitally they created the music and created the...
But the lyrics are powerful.
Thank you so much, man.
They're so good. They're so good. And yeah, so just I encourage you to pick up some of her books. I definitely want the 2 devotional, like the ones you just talked about. I definitely want those. I don't have those on Audible. So
I got you.
Okay. And we just love you so much.
I love you too,
Thank you
sis.
so much. This was so special.
Thank you so much.
It is a blessing to know you as a friend, as a sister, from day one.
Wow,
Just
dude.
locked eyes.
Well, I love you so much. I believe in you. I support whatever you're going to do. And I just love you so much. I just want to be a part of your life, honestly.
Yeah, me too.
You
I
know
love
it?
you too.
Yeah. This is so great, man.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I know that this is going to just fill your heart with love and acceptance. And be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, do all the things. And in 2 weeks, we will have another episode, and we're going to have Maddie on again. So I know you guys love to hear Maddie. She's a joy, and she's pretty honest too. She tends to not hold things back. So yeah, we're going to have her with us in a few weeks. And thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful, blessed, love-filled day.
Bye.
Bye.